So yeah, that's the fundraiser going on inside.
Right. I'm glad they made use of the space.
What's that?
I said I'm glad they made use of the space.
No, this is a regime tied to failure. So we'll see if we can catch a few people inside.
Okay. What do you? What's your profession?
That's what you ask.
Thank you kindly. All right. I'll check you out right now. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries, buddy. Hey, we are the Coalition. We're outside of the Panaderia Restaurante, and we're catching people on the way in. You're here to support Mayor Grebien? Are you concerned at all about the litigation claiming racism by the superintendent of schools? I guess not. I don't expect much action here for a little bit. Folks are kind of, well, they're not exactly streaming in. You see the usual suspects. The mayor, Charlie Lombardi of North Providence, was here. Frank Picozzi of Warwick, he was here. I refer to some of these guys as the Blackstone Valley Boys. We're here to just ask a couple of seminal questions. Number one, how do folks feel about the lawsuit filed this past week from now former Superintendent Patricia Royal against the city of Pawtucket, claiming a variety of heinous acts, all of them based in racism, or how they feel about the soccer stadium that's about to open. Just a few short months ago, the city of Worcester wrote a check for $792,000 to cover the shortfall between the projected tax revenue that was going to cover the debt, the bonded indebtedness, and the requirements. $792,000. Could Pawtucket absorb that type of blow? I guess we'll see. Yep. We have another individual. You're here to support the mayor. Why? Give us something good that he's done. Tell us something.
He made the city a lot better place than it was before he got to be.
Really? What about that GAM Theater or the Paw Sox? Yeah, it's a better place if you are making the skidol, if you're making the do-re-mi. I don't know how anyone alive can claim that the city of Pawtucket is better off than it was before Mayor Don Grebien. That's, wow. Didn't expect to hear that one. Again, sorry we're not seeing lots of fame names and people you know. Not a lot of people showing up, unless a few of them got here early. I don't see crowds out by the window. But the question remains, and listener, viewer, feel free to weigh in. Is the city of Pawtucket better off than before the Donald Grebien regime? We're right outside of Panaderia Restaurante. Forgive my pronunciation. I'm from New Jersey. Are we better off? Let's go down the litany of losses, if you will. The GAM Theater, Memorial Hospital, the Paw Sox. I guess we're getting this. Oh, connection's back. Soon to be Hasbro. Kip's Restaurant. The entire stretch. Oh, here he is. You think of anything good yet?
About what?
Grebien. We're here in the heart of downtown, and if there's a neighborhood that's taken the biggest losses, the biggest hits, it's downtown. Downtown is a ghost town. Just a block and a half away, a retail business left about 2 years ago. Incredibly enough, the pawn shop went out of business. Now, I'm not sure how a pawn shop goes out of business, but it did. People showing up to drop off the checks, to pay homage to the Godfather. And despite some significant litigation, I think we have a few more willing folks. But this downtown area has gotten devastated. And now, the transportation center. Ho! Come on over, say hi. Explain to us.
I got a meeting. I just want to say hello.
No. Hey, explain to us about the lawsuit. Well, you know, here's the thing. When they go in, they got to come out. Oh, we've got another willing supplicant. Sorry about her. Do you have any concerns about the lawsuit filed this week by Patricia Royal against the city of Pawtucket? I guess not. Your job is safe. They all show up with the checks. Whether it be a parking concession or a favorable zoning treatment, it's all here. So we're just going to wait outside. I'm going to move a little bit down. Maybe I can catch a couple of these people. So again, if there's anybody out there who's got something favorable to say about the Grebien administration, please say so. Feel free. I doubt there's much. And maybe the paucity, if you will, the very few folks attending this is probably a good example of just how sad and tragic this administration is. Again, just look at the litany of pain. Did you know this city spent $10 million of APRA money on a soccer stadium? Folks just joining us, we're outside of the Fundraiser Restaurante. Forgive my pronunciation. I'm from Jersey. We're talking to folks as they enter the Don Grebien Hall of Shame. Imagine what craven depths you have to go to actually give money to Donald Grebien, the disgraced mayor of Pawtucket. We're talking about some of the more notable failures: the loss of Memorial Hospital, the loss of Hasbro, of course, the loss of the Paw Sox, the loss of the GAM Theater. Don's the man. Oof. Depends what your definition of the man is. Hey, we've got a few more folks showing up. Why are you here to, let me ask, why are you here to support Don Grebien? What has he done for you? Are you worried about the new litigation by the most recent city school superintendent accusing the city of racism, institutional racism? I guess not. You're getting your check. Don't worry. Don's the man. Rich. There should be police. I'm sorry, Trisha. That's funny. Holy cow. Gonna read Ms. Pelican's comment. Well, here he comes. He gave the check. You're safe.
Sir.
The job is intact. The pension's intact, or maybe it's a concession you got. Do you have an eternal soul? No, I don't think so. What type of person writes a check to Mayor Don Grebien? I can't imagine what craven depths your life has spun down to, where you see value in actually supporting him. Sir, you're here to see Don Grebien. Are you concerned at all about the litigation from Patricia Royal? Or not? Yeah, Ms. Pelican, in the words from the Immortal Tonight Show, you are correct, sir. Tragicomic is probably the best term to use, but you are spot on. So, Rich, come on, tell me something good that's come out of Don Grebien being mayor. Anything. By the way, we're subject to the vagaries here of cellular communications in downtown Pawtucket. There ain't much left in downtown Pawtucket. Hey, Pat, what did you switch on us? What did I switch? Tell me what happened. Again, I'm relying on cellular signals here. We're outside of the Fundraiser Restaurante. We're hoping to get a quick glimpse of Mayor Grebien and ask him how he feels about getting sued his pants off by Patricia Royal. How he feels about another major loss by the city. And of course, we're talking about, well, dare we say it? Are they truly gone yet? We're not sure. We're talking about the loss of the Paw Sox. What even worse, we're talking about the soon-to-be grand opening of Tidewater Landing. For those who weren't listening in the run-up, the city of Worcester had to write a $792,000 check to cover the shortfall between projected tax revenue to cover the financing, the bond financing of the stadium. 792. Is Pawtucket in a position to do that? In addition to that, the city of Pawtucket, $10 million of APRA money. $10 million from a city where people don't have enough to eat. I'm not sure if I know the definition of living obscenity, but that's close to it. Anyone who's been by the Apex Theater after the Elisha Project has done their duty, done amazing work supplying the community, knows how hungry people in Pawtucket are. Sir, are you here to support the mayor?
Of course.
Why?
Good question.
What's it? Why?
What's he running for?
What's that?
What's he running for?
I don't know. He's running for mayor, but maybe there's plenty of room for new city hall in Hasbro building.
Why would you?
He's a litany of failure, and you support
Are
him.
you a resident of Pawtucket?
I've had a business here.
What?
I'm a reporter. That's what I get to do.
I asked my question. Are you a resident of Pawtucket?
I don't think I could afford the coming tax bill after the stadium fails.
No.
Sir, why are you supporting Mayor Grebien?
Oh, I have for a long time. I've been with for a long time.
So, Paw Sox, the GAM Theater, Memorial Hospital, Hasbro.
We had the last swing at the Paw Sox.
What's that?
I took the last swing at the Paw Sox.
And it's a good thing we lost it. Worcester just wrote a $792,000 check. Can the city of Pawtucket afford to write a similar check for Tidewater?
We had it all tied to revenue sources. We didn't get the go until June. That was
I was there, and I was there.
It was miserable.
I was there to wave goodbye to them.
It was okay.
Best thing that ever happened.
How are you? Yeah, Frank.
Gentlemen, are you here to support the mayor?
How you doing? Right? Good. You?
Are you here to support the mayor?
What's that?
Are you here to support the mayor?
Yes.
Why?
I live in Cranston.
What?
Because he's a personal friend.
How? You seem like a man of integrity. A personal friend of Don Grebien's. Oof. That's rough. Yikes. Tell me you just signed it. You wrote a check to Don Grebien. My God, man. Do you have no standards? Notice they're not staying long. They write a check, they grab a little nosh, and they screw. I don't know, man. If people are writing me a check, I'd hope they want to hang out. Or is this city so transactional that you're literally on your back with the meter running? Who said that? Sir, are you here to support the mayor?
Ready to support?
Good. How, are you here to support him?
Yes.
I got to ask you, why? There you go. So it's a peaceful, quiet night in downtown Pawtucket. Of course, the problem is it's always quiet in downtown Pawtucket because there's very few businesses left. The cities have moved in. Sir, did you just write a check to the mayor?
I did.
Why? No, seriously, why? He resents the single greatest failure to the city of Pawtucket in Pawtucket history. Unless, of course, you sold him to. By the way, a couple of anecdotal notes, but important. For those of you who supported our effort to dine in Central Falls this week, we thank you. We are going to be doing another one, a date very soon to be announced. It was for a grassroots effort with just a few weeks' notice. It had real impact. Tomorrow, by the way, anecdotally, is 401 Gives. So, conversely, here I am. I'm going to ask for money. Libertarian Mutual Aid or the Milagros Project. If you're of the type to give money, or if you're the individual who's frustrated by these mega charities with the mega salaries and the minimal impact, in fact, salaries seem to be inversely related to actually how much gets done. Those are two wonderful organizations. Now, I vouch for one of them, Libertarian Mutual Aid, because, well, I run it. It's a salary-free homeless support organization that delivers bottled water across the state of Rhode Island as well as other supplies. The Milagros Project is a model mutual aid organization, again, volunteer, based in Woonsocket, doing everything from harm reduction to student mentoring to to violence intervention to, well, everything happening right here. We've proven these handful of organizations, there's more. There's a Woonsocket Mutual Aid organization that's burgeoning, rising up, with the purpose of doing nothing less than reviving the community and bringing people back into contact with the community. So we're not tied to these hell-spawn whores like Don Grebien, who manages to profit from everything. Everything. You see these not-for-profits where the CEOs are making $200,000 and $300,000 a year. There's good money helping the poor. And then simultaneously, you see a guy like Don Grebien taking $10 million of APRA money to a city where they can barely feed themselves to build up a stadium that is almost guaranteed to lose and to fail. The city of Pawtucket dodged a bullet by losing the Paw Sox. Again, you've heard me say this. Gentlemen, sir, are you going to write a check to Don Grebien? Why? Have you no standards? Oof. Again, I'm obsessive. I can't imagine a universe where I would write a check to Don Grebien or Dan McKee or Charlie Lombardi or any of these folks. Folks, have some standards. Give the money. Light it on fire. There are 1,000 better things you can do than give money to a whore like Don Grebien. That's how we pronounce it in Jersey. We don't say whore. That would be ugly. That would be trashy. We say whore. So don't do that. My friend Bonnie's listening. The Milagros Project. Google them. Donate money. Call it tomorrow. Send a few bucks. People you may or may not know, their lives will be materially helped by donating to organizations like that.
You're not going to come have a beer?
I don't think I'm invited.
But you're here.
I'm here spiritually. You're not giving me any money, are
That'd
you?
be 25.
You're not giving me money, are you?
What's that?
You're not going to give me any money, are you?
The mayor? I
Yeah.
love the mayor.
Oh, dude, we're surrounded. I mean, all kidding aside, we are surrounded by a testament to the mayor, a pure and utter failure.
What about my stadium? You like it?
All right, so the poor listeners, they've had
It's
it's opening, right? And this is just a month or two after Worcester had to write a $792,000 check to cover the shortfalls in the mysterious super TIF region financing that never
I
happened.
can't speak to Worcester. I don't know. They may have done something wrong up there to steal our team.
You mean all that? Oh wait, here comes one of my favorite guys. Oh, hang around. This is going to be good, folks. The best thing.
Why are you comparing Worcester? I mean, Worcester's Worcester. This isn't Worcester.
Listen. They're successful business. Here he is, the man who would have brought us to Paw Sox Stadium to go in. How about that $792,000 check that the city of Worcester had to write? If you had gotten your way, the city of Pawtucket would have done it. And you'll always be a whore. Yeah, loser. It's astonishing watching this. By the way, that guy's the former mayor of Cumberland, and now he sells solar systems to municipalities, trading largely on the business of people he ran with and did deals with. I mean, that's the full Rhode Island. Failure meet failure. But he's getting his piece of the action. He's getting his skittle. Yeah, okay, I have the receipts. I know where some of the bodies are buried. But anyone who isn't making dime, isn't making bank off the state of the city, who would give this guy money. By the way, we had a video earlier today outside of a canceled meeting. Now, the city of Pawtucket, when you go up to the Secretary of State site, has literally dozens of committees. It's almost impossible to track, unless you have a flow chart, the different committee meetings and what's going on. You have to literally get up every morning and scroll through a 4 or 5 page list. Nope, not a big turnout. Not a big turnout. So you have to go through a 4 or 5 page list. And there was supposed to be a facilities meeting today that was going to discuss, well, amongst other things, the winter school. Folks, you're not here to write a check to Don Grebien, are you?
We
Please say no. Please. I'm begging you. Why would you give money to this guy? He's a crook. You know the city's getting sued by Patricia Royal, the first African-American school superintendent in the city's history for racism. Biff! How you doing, buddy? You're not giving him money, are you? Thank you. Thank you. That's the former chief of staff, if you will, of the great city of Pawtucket. Where was I? I don't even know. So anyway, there was this meeting this morning, and shockingly, it was supposed to be chaired, it was a facilities committee, it was chaired by Joanne Bonolo. Folks, you aren't giving Don Grebien money, are you? Please say no. Don't do it. There's still time. Don't walk in there. So, this is the woman who was quoted in the litigation filed this past week that claimed that she lost. Sir, you're not going to give Don Grebien money, are you? Please, have some measure of self-respect. Nah, his name isn't Biff. He just looks like Biff. So, Joanne Bonolo was promised, don't do it. Hold on to the money. Go play Keno. Do anything but give this guy money. What concession do you have from the city? What deal did you get? That could be the only reason you're here. You must have gotten some sweetheart deal. Anyway, so in the filing, Joanne Bonolo is quoted, and I'm paraphrasing here. Hey folks, you didn't give this guy money, did you? Please tell me you didn't give him money. As saying why she didn't get to be the chair of the Pawtucket, City of Pawtucket School Committee. Because, and I'm paraphrasing, because they didn't want a white grandma, they had to be a person of color. So she's blaming, overtly, in public, with witnesses, she is blaming her loss as chair of the school committee on race. Now, how is it possible in the year 2025, and no one's going to accuse me of being politically correct, but you know what? I'm polite, and I don't believe or say things like that. Charlie!
Hey, how you doing?
You didn't give him money, did you?
Huh?
You didn't give him money, did you?
Money for what?
Bail money for your boy here?
Oh, I just gave him $4,000.
Oh, dude. Get the money back. There's still time. Did you hear about the lawsuit this week? Another city school official is suing him. That was Charlie Lombardi. So, first of all, it's utter nonsense. She's not competent to run the school committee. Not that Omar Reyes is. I mean, Omar Reyes is a disaster. But how is a person like that still be allowed to have some type of decision making on behalf of a city like Pawtucket? How is someone like that able to operate in a board level capacity in a city like Pawtucket? I'd say words fail me, but as my friends can tell you, words never fail me. No, Woonsocket City School Committee meeting this past week. Words fail me. AM 1380, Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Bonnie Pekarsky of Milagros Project and myself and possibly a few other people, we're going to be talking about that. Well, forgive my shameless self-promotion as I'm segueing in between these folks. By the way, Charlie Lombardi, I should have timed how long people spent. Charlie Lombardi, I think, don't hold me to this, just gave a gee whiz to Grebs. And yikes. I know North Providence could use the money. There's got to be some type of charity, even in a city like North Providence, which is, you know, really, it's a nice place and it's a bastion of, if you will, the middle class. It's a real community there. Charlie, you're breaking my heart. So, looking at an event like this, all you've seen is your a-hole buddies come through. Uh-oh. We have someone coming. Uh-oh. You know, a sophisticated multimedia video environment like this would have access to higher level sound effects and optics. But we don't. You know better. We got to tilt the camera. We got some regular folks coming through. We don't want to harass them. It is none other than the General Treasurer of the state of Rhode Island. Now, by the way, you should know we celebrated. Good to see you. We celebrated Central Falls this past week. We had a group of us, Black Lives Matter, the Milagros Project, Libertarian Mutual Aid, had something called Central Falls Restaurant Night, and we're gonna be doing that again next month.
Let me know.
We've got a couple of great ideas. This was sort of a spur of the moment grassroots thing, reacting to what's going on in Central Falls. And for the record, because I'm generally conceded as being a cynical, negative person, we attributed the turnaround of Central Falls and its new focus on small business, restaurants, and a variety of retail business and construction businesses on yourself and Mayor Rivera. So congratulations for that.
I had good advisors. Good advisors.
Well, but I got to tease you.
Yeah.
You know, me and Grebs are tight.
Yeah.
Dude, take the money you're going to give him. Go in, have a drink, shake hands, be buddies, but take the money you're going to give him. And there's tomorrow's 401 Gives, right? Now, there's 2 organizations on 401 Gives. You just slip a couple of dollars. One of them is called Libertarian Mutual Aid, and the other one is called the Milagros Project. And both are all volunteer projects that focus on
Milagros, right?
Milagros Project and Libertarian Mutual Aid.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
God bless, lad.
You too.
Oh, former state representative.
Hey, Mr. Barrows.
What's going on?
Yes, it was General Treasurer Diosa. Listen, it's politics. What can I say? It's politics. Yeah, what can I say? I like the guy. He's always been very good to us. He's always been very successful. And yes, if you're a wannabe media guy or a media guy, that does temper your fundamental disagreements on policy. So I'll tease him. I'll make sure he gets something to the Milagros Project. Anyhow, where was I? Folks just joining us, we are outside of Panaderia Restaurante. Tonight is a mayoral fundraiser. Oh, somebody's coming out. Oh, come on. You didn't give money to him, did you? What? You're killing me. You didn't give money to him, did you?
No comment.
Why? Dude, tomorrow, listen, I'll pay, if you put a stop order on that check, I'll pay the $25 fee. Just donate it. Tomorrow is 401 Gives, correct? You know that, right?
Yes.
Right? With the United Way. There's 2 organizations. Listen, you're gonna go to Pat Ford Church here. All right? You're gonna go to church. You're gonna atone for your sins by supporting this guy. And I understand why. But tomorrow, when you wake up in the morning, give $10 to this and the Milagros Project. And that will atone for the sin of supporting Don Grebien.
By the way, well, I'm not going to give it to you. I didn't
No.
write a check. That's what I'll tell you.
God bless you.
I did not write a check.
You are the wing beneath my wings. Unless you gave him a credit card.
No. No contribution.
All right, so hold on. No contribution. Yes. No contribution. By the way, I haven't seen people move on steps this fast. It's impressive how quickly people are trying to get out of here. Oh. Now, you didn't give any contribution, did you?
I didn't get what?
You didn't give the mayor a contribution, did you?
I work for the mayor.
Excellent. Hey, did you hear about Worcester? $792,000 the city of Worcester had to pony up for the Polar Park Stadium for shortfalls in financing. I have 3 words. No, 2. You're welcome. I was right. That was the communication director, Grace Fall, for your city of Pawtucket, Rhode Island. There's still time. Grab that money back. Mr. Pelican, good question. I honestly don't know if he showed up in the town vehicle. All these guys drive their town vehicle everywhere. There's a sequence of mayoral license plate numbers that I think are in breaks of 5, all ending in 000. So unlike say, state rep and senator, if you know, you know. Sir, you're not giving money to him, are you? Come on. Show some sack. Sack, by the way, is slang for balls. Something that is in short supply in Rhode Island government. All right? I mean, listen, one thing you can't accuse me of is not being willing to say things to their face. I challenge any of these people to come out and duke it out with me. I'm from Jersey. Not only do we not avoid controversy and conflict, not only do we embrace conflict, we try to create conflict. And that's my job. Barry, thank you very much. If you haven't followed us before, please follow me. That's the coin of the realm, if you will, on the great and lovely Facebook. Folks, if you're just joining us, we are outside of Panaderia Ristorante in the heart of downtown Pawtucket, the nearly abandoned downtown Pawtucket. Again, this is a community. The downtown is so tough that the pawn shop moved out of downtown. The pawn shop moved out of downtown. Even they can't figure out a way to make money. And the genius of the Grebien administration is that the stadium is in a completely different part of town. So the transportation center that was the home of a half a dozen or so good businesses, including a book publisher, lays largely abandoned now outside of the Rhode Island Football Club, which I'm convinced. What was that building down at URI that it turned out it was just literally boards being held up, and they managed to bang URI for like $1 bazillion for it? That's what I'm convinced is happening here. Well, we have more folks leaving. You folks didn't donate money, I hope, did you?
Hey, young man, how are you?
You're not going to give him any money, are you?
I don't know.
Don't.
Are you going to give him any money?
No.
Why?
How are you, sir?
Very good. How you there?
You're not going to give him money, are you?
No.
No, don't do it.
No.
Don't give in.
Don't give him. He got too much, right?
And that tomorrow is 401 Gives. There's the United Way is running it. There's literally hundreds of great small organizations. Coincidentally, I represent one of them. So if you send us $5, we have no salaries and we deliver water to the homeless.
Okay.
You can find us on 401 Gives tomorrow.
Okay.
All right? Please. He's okay. He'll be fine.
He got too much.
You know he's getting sued again, right?
Okay.
He's getting sued by Patricia Royal, the former superintendent.
Shoot by superintendent?
Yeah. He fired her a couple weeks ago while she was out of state. While she was on medical leave, he fired her. No notice. She found out via, I don't even know how she found out.
How can he cannot find the superintendent, right? No.
You would think so, but he made it happen. So now the city's getting sued millions of dollars. You can ask him. And say hi for me. Tell him Pat Ford's outside. Would love to have a kumbaya moment. Have a little drink, a little nosh. Interesting, yes. So, no, Bonnie as Bonnie knows more than most people alive, I suffer no crisis in self-confidence. That means I'm an egotistical narcissistic. But no, I didn't stop him. But I think one of the most interesting, one of the most generous, one of the most powerful men in Central Falls, Pawtucket, is a gentleman by the name of Lewis Yip. And an incredibly generous man. He was obviously not aware of the news, and I'm not going to speak for him because he's an incredibly generous man who seeks to do nothing but help other people. And listen, folks know me, I'm a little cynical, just a little bit. And yet I will accord him that honor, the honor I will accord few. And I may have planted a seed. There might be a couple of uncomfortable conversations going on in just a few minutes. But again, I come to this, I still have yet to have a single person tell me anything good that Grebien's done for the city of Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I will say this, he's not quite as evil as Lisa Baldelli Hunt. I don't believe he owns a human skin collection. But oh,
Okay.
now come on, you didn't give him money,
I got
did
a
you?
meeting right
You
now.
got a meeting.
School meeting, yeah, come on.
No, I gotta stay. Listen, what
Meeting, come.
what about the lawsuit?
No comments about that.
Ah, Babo, come on, sir. You're not going in to give him money, are you?
Doing what?
You're not going in to give Grebien money, are you?
Not right this moment.
Excellent, thank you. Don't do it. He doesn't need the money. And tomorrow is 401 Gives, and there's literally hundreds of organizations that can actually use that money for value to help, selflessly help other people. As opposed to losing the GAM Theater, as opposed to losing, what's that toy company, Hasbro? As opposed to losing the Paw Sox, as opposed to losing the hospital.
I've heard of
What's that? Have a great night. Thanks for listening. Yeah, folks, it's getting a little dark here, but we're going to hang in. This is bigly fun. I keep repeating it, but first of all, again, tomorrow is 401 Gives. The Milagros Project and Libertarian Mutual Aid are two wonderful organizations that are worthy of your support. Now, why are they worthy of your support? Unlike the mayor of Pawtucket, we are not on our back with the meter running. It's all the most, I'll say the most dreaded word in Rhode Island government. It's actually considered an obscenity in some words. It begins with V. No, you dirty bastards, it's not what you think. It's volunteer. Yes, the people in the Milagros Project and Libertarian Mutual Aid all volunteer. Imagine if you're not skimming $1 million off the top in salaries like you are with, yes, Crossroads, who in its most recent financial federal disclosure, the CEO of Crossroads made $375,000 a year. By the way, yes, there is great money in helping the poor. Anyone who actually told you to go out and get a real job, nope, grift off the poor. That's what we do here in Rhode Island. So $375,000. So Milagros and Libertarian Mutual Aid, none of them, yes, Rich, I'm still alive. In a matter of speaking, spiritually, I've been dead for years. All right, but in a matter of, it's a gigantic grift. Not-for-profits are not corporate. They're not creating wealth. They're hiring people, but they're skimming money from one part of society to another. It's disgusting. In no way, shape, or form. Here he is. Wait a minute. The man, the legend. No, we're actually doing a live broadcast here. Okay. I'm going to plant the seed, particularly since you're wearing. We are live. I'm just going to plant a question. I would love to know. First of all, as I've told you before, I come from a union family, American Postal Workers Union. My father, 40 years. I wouldn't have gone to the college that I went to if it wasn't for the fact that my father was part of a union. So I support unions. How many businesses in the stadium are unionized?
I don't know.
I'm going to try and find out this week. If I find out first, I'll let you know. But my suspicion is because, for example, they've hired Mavens to do food, which, by the way, until this week, Mavens was the second best Jewish deli in the state. Bubby's was the best. All right?
I'll take your word for it.
No, truly. Mavens is what everyone who goes to Disneyland thinks a French restaurant should look like. Okay? So anyway, I genuinely, not busting balls here, it's my contention that I believe that very few of the jobs at the stadium are unionized. And if in fact the stadium has been, we can all agree on this, that they've been the beneficiary of a great deal of state largesse as well as federally largesse, I would contend that they should be unionized jobs.
If they're not, we will organize them.
Excellent.
All right, Pat.
You're promising, right?
Absolutely.
God bless, lad.
See ya.
So, when's Biff coming out? I think Biff went through the back entrance. Oh. The Secretary of State of the great state of Rhode Island. How are you? So, I have to tease you.
How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad.
Oh, let me turn the camera. You got your camera on, I got my camera
My
on.
camera is on, sir.
Excellent. By the way, does the city of Pawtucket, this is actually a genuine, legit question. The city of Pawtucket, or any state police department, I'm a big believer in cameras. So, do they have to, on an ARPA request, have to divulge the video?
I unfortunately wouldn't have the answer to that question. That's kind of above me.
No, fair enough. All right,
I'm
that's
just a
not
basic
here.
patrol officer, unfortunately. So I was called out here today just to kind of figure out what you're doing. I know obviously you're on a public sidewalk. You know, I'm not going to kind of.
Oh.
I just want to know what you're kind of doing.
Sure, I'll give you my card. I am a regular, if you will, at your City of Pawtucket School Committee meetings. In fact, I was there this morning. Whoop, let me give you a card. I am a reporter. I do this 7 days a week. So, am I here as a fan of the mayor? I'm here.
Okay.
Not a big fan of the mayor.
Okay.
You know, you're talking to someone who went to literally, and this is not a shot at you or you, I went to every day of court over 2 years for Daniel Dolan. And what happened at the end of that case, I think it was a complete discredit to you folks, because you are honorable men. And I just overall, hold on a second, I have a card. Overall, the mayor's doing a fundraiser here. I'm here on public property, as you noted. And I'm here to point out, that's Frank Picozzi. He's the mayor of Warren. That's me. So I'm just here to cover the news.
Okay.
Sadly, I appear to be the only person here.
Gotcha.
Excuse me, I don't want to. Since you gave him your card, your business, can I leave my card with you?
Absolutely. Are you going to say my card? I like this.
Isn't that what I said?
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. You are the most honorable, truthful man I've met here today.
It's my card, boss. Anything I can.
It's a funny one. All right, so you're just here.
That's
kind
what
of doing a
everybody
report
says.
on
This is my
basically
card,
what's going
right?
on today with the
Yeah.
with what the mayor's having here.
Yep.
And you're kind of doing your own kind of report on it.
Well, I've been a reporter now since 2020 here in the state, and I cover the governor, and I cover a lot of Pawtucket stuff. You'll see me not so much anymore at City Council, where I'll be going back there. You'll see me. You know, before that, I led the opposition to the Paw Sox Stadium, which
It's sad, huh? If they're carrying it down, right?
Well, here's the thing. The city of Worcester, I'll give you one quick trivia here, and it's actually very important. The city of Worcester, just a month or so ago, they took the Paw Sox, right? And they're the Woo Sox. The city of Worcester was promised that taxpayers would not have to foot any of the deal for the stadium. The city of Worcester just wrote a $792,000 check to support the financing because of the shortfall in what the projected income on the stadium was going to be versus what it was. So the city was on the hook. Now, what does that mean to like a city like Pawtucket? It means less pay for teachers. It means less pay for police officers, firemen. I know there's been a number of contracts that have been hotly contested in the last couple of years, and you got a guy here, editorially. City's in tough shape. It's about to get tougher. School department's pretty much broke, and just this past week, they fired the superintendent of schools. And actually, they fired her about a month ago, but the city just got sued this past week, and the look is ugly because there's a lot of racism, and this is a woman who is a national player in education, and it's just a bad look for the city. So that's what I'm covering.
I got you. Is there anything that I can do for you that would help your case here in terms of you? Are you going to be here the whole time?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Until it gets dark. For a little while longer. He hasn't exactly had a banner turnout.
Okay.
I can say that, which is disappointing in a sense, because, yeah.
You know, obviously, I don't have to probably explain this to you. I'm sure you are aware kind of how things work out here in terms of you reporting to the public. You know, obviously, we don't want you to be bothering patrons that are coming in and out of here.
Well, we in much the same way that Channel 10 or Channel 12 will, covering a similar event, will ask questions. That's why I haven't made a move to go inside. I want to respect the sanctity of their event. I'm not chanting or using loud devices to interfere with their enjoyment.
Absolutely.
I do reserve the right to ask, and I'm trying to keep it humorous, you know, with a little bit of a, but you know, it's I understand where good taste and
all I can
poor
ask
behavior.
is that you respect the people who are coming and going. You know, as long as you are doing that, I obviously can't come out here and enforce.
I'll keep it low key.
Rules, all right.
Yeah. I'm not here to make anybody angry.
You know, I do appreciate that. Okay.
Fair enough, buddy.
Any other questions I can answer for you?
No, that's it. It's all good. I'll probably be out of here soon.
All right. Awesome.
The turnout's pretty rough. Don isn't scoring the Skirol tonight.
Hopefully things are successful for everybody's ends here this evening. Alrighty, sir. I appreciate your time.
He runs Lincoln. You know, I'm teasing here when I say this, but Lincoln is a really good place to work. Right?
I'm
Right?
happy here.
And you you have a history with policing, right?
29 years on LPD, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, employment opportunities, are there any in Lincoln?
I think we actually have we're heads out right now.
Okay. Great commute. Imagine working for a mayor who's actually walked the beat.
Well, Mr. Ford, I appreciate it, but I'm fairly happy in the position I'm in.
No, it's all good.
All right, sir.
But
best
say,
of luck, okay?
but say hi. Now,
I appreciate your respectfulness and just kind of treat everybody else here the same, all right?
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Am I being disrespectful? Call her Tina.
It's not up for me to decide.
All right. Tell the police chief that Pat Ford said hi.
All right, sir. You have a good one, okay?
God bless, lad. All right. And that was the Pawtucket law enforcement community coming by to say hi. Woo! Yep, welcome to Pat. Remember, this is Pat Ford's world, and you're just kidding. All right, so here's what we've got. We've got, first of all, if you're just joining us, we are at Panaderia Restaurant. We are here at an event being sponsored by Mayor Don Grebien. It is a political fundraiser. And my question is, why would anybody give money to Don Grebien? There is a litany of failure to be had here. Let's go down the list again for if you just joined us. And this is in no particular order, but of course, the Paw Sox and Hasbro loom large. They are, where's Ed Dora? Oof, good question. Maybe we get him, nah, I like the guys in Lincoln. The Lincoln first selectman, mayor, he's a righteous dude. So anyway, so let's go down the litany of failure of Don Grebien. Sort of a testimony to his failed life. And we're not going to mention all the rumors because at the Coalition Radio Network, we don't report rumors. We do report on the existence of rumors. So there are rumors abound in the city of Pawtucket of numerous cases of, well, operating under the influence. Okay, we'll just sort of throw that out there. And when he sues me, we can do the discovery. The Paw Sox, of course, reign supreme. Of course, the Paw Sox were financially broken long before they left. He did everything to move heaven and earth to get them to stay. Literally sold our soul. Yeah. The problem with that is the deal he cut would have bankrupted the city of Pawtucket. And why I say that is because the city they fled to, Worcester, Massachusetts, just had to cut a $792,000 check to taxpayers.
I'm going that way. Take care.
Have a great night, boss. Did you give him any money? I'm teasing. All right, so $792,000. Now, even in Rhode Island state government, where we've got a $14 bazillion budget, that's a lot of money. And I firmly believe that's what would have happened with the Paw Sox, because the fundamentals weren't any different. All you have to look at, regard of the Pawtucket Red Sox Stadium and now the soccer stadium, is look at the Paw Sox history of economic development in the immediate area of McCoy Stadium. Bueller, there has been none. And there never will be. And the same is true, well, we don't know, we can't predict. I'm not Karnak, but there probably won't be any. And then who pays the bills? One of the big lies, one of the big frauds about these subsidized stadiums and these subsidized is that they're going to be taxpayer free. The taxpayers won't have to pay a penny. Now remember that. And they'll tout attendance in the first year or two and say, look, it's showing out. Well, new places, new event like that sell out all the time. Did you break down? Did you give them money? The Walk of Shame. That's it. This is the new Pawtucket Walk of Shame. The Pawtucket Walk of Shame is when you go to a Don Grebien event and you walk out suddenly lighter. All that's missing is the crumpled up underwear in your pocket and that queasy feeling down below. Oof. A little bit too evocative? Okay. Yes, we're going to call this the Pawtucket Walk of Shame. So anyway, the notion that stadium ticket sales are going to save the stadium are not based in reality. Hey, not based in reality. Here's why, and I'll draw an analogy for you. It's one I always use. Brown University, if you were attending Brown University or the Rhode Island School of Design, they really, really, really want you to pay that tuition. Now, the tuition is de minimis relative to the cost of running a university. We're finding that out with Columbia, by the way, right now. So if they get the tuition or don't get the tuition, not so much. What's critical is something called TIF financing, tax incremental financing. They designate an area, and in that area, there is going to be projected tax revenue increases based on investments spurred by the soccer stadium. You're not giving them any money, are you? Please don't. So all this extra money is going to come in the form of economic development that's going to be surrounded by the stadium. Well, the reality is it never happens. And a perfect example of that is, if you will, the Paw Sox and then Woo Sox Stadium. Again, no economic development of the Paw Sox. They moved to Worcester, and all sorts of wonderful things are going to happen. You're not giving him any money, are you? Please don't. Tomorrow's 401 gift, donate it to a charity. So, what happens when there's virtually no economic development, or significantly less than was prognosticated, for lack of a better term? So, what happens is there's a shortfall, and that shortfall translates into, is your pride still intact? Did you give him any money? We all like Rhodes.
I did the first, and he was the only vote I got. When the water treatment plant contract.
Right.
That's how far back that was. And that was, we just did a...
Sean.
Yeah, good to see you guys. We just did a renewal for 20 years sometime in the last year. So that had to be 20 years before that. And it turned into and he was the only one who kind of voted with the mayor at the time.
Right.
Stuck up for it. Then it went to litigation. I dropped out, and then I dropped it back to Fundraiser contracts. But that's what I've done. That's mostly what I do, is I build water plants, wastewater plants.
No, I understand. And you build the nuts and bolts of municipal life, and they're necessary.
Oh,
and you know,
we have them.
Well,
you know, they're going to look like bargains.
I run a charity that delivers bottled water to homeless encampments all over the state. All right. By the way, tomorrow's 401 gives either us or the Milagros Project. Send us $5. Okay, or 10.
Okay.
I wish you'd given us the money instead of him. But anyway, the problem is we have a mayor who has got stadium envy. Right. Now, I led the opposition. For people listening, we're just listening to this. I led the opposition to both stadiums, Providence and Kentucky. The central thing being it's highly inappropriate taxpayer money of any type to go to private development. I'm a libertarian. I'm a capitalist.
Every stadium in the country, even the NFL,
and they've been incredible failures. And I'll just use
people love them. So how do you go figure?
All right. So again, I feel bad for them. They heard this whole story, but the Reader's Digest version is just a few short weeks ago, the city of Worcester wrote a $792,000 check out of operating funds to cover the shortfall and the TIF development money, because all of these consultants, I'm not going to say they lie, but I'm going to say they massage information. And the reality is, rarely is the economic development anything near what has been promoted by the developers. It's just like the traffic light that they say you don't need. Who told us we don't need that? Oh, the developers. Oh, what are the odds? So the problem is most of these projects are frauds, and they fail. And you're looking at a city that's fundamentally broken financially. And I know that because I report on them 2 or 3 times a week. I go to the meetings. I read the reports.
None of the communities.
Yeah, but none of them gave $10 million to a soccer stadium. Okay? And none of them are giving tax preferential treatment to a bunch of investors who the Federal Trade Commission labeled as, I don't know if they use the word pyramid scheme, but formally labeled them. And I did the legal research, and I published a report to the State House. And how do I know it's true? Because they didn't sue my ass, right? But it was basically a pyramid scheme. And they were found guilty and had to settle 6-figure settlements for fraud. Fraud. That's what you're dealing with here. So the problem is we have seen the enemy, and he is us.
Involved in this.
But you're. I'm not trying to personalize this. I'm not trying to personalize this, but you're supporting him, and he needs to go home. He's had his run.
How many terms has he been in?
I want to say he's been here like 14 years, and it's been a trail of tears, the likes of which I haven't seen in any other community. I do politics for a living, 7 days a week on 3 different levels, including national politics. I have never seen the totality of the failure here is immense. And next time,
on a personal level, I like him. You know, and that's part
we all
of it.
like Rhodes. I
haven't done any
love
real
Buddy
work.
Cianci. I was friendly with him. I thought he was a great guy.
I gave Buddy the best idea he ever had. This was when I was leaving state government. I had introduced, when I was in the state senate, legislation to create a tax-free zone downtown. Guard.
Yep.
Guess where I discovered that on a trip to Dublin.
I'm very familiar with it, and I will tell you that
And
even
I
though
said, Buddy, I said, you know, I never supported it, but I said, this is what Providence needs, and it costs the city nothing.
Right, because
the taxes are hit are all in this thing.
right. No, I as a libertarian, I applaud that. I also saw the Renaissance. I spent my time commuting for nearly 10 years between Manhattan and Providence. Right, I had a rent-controlled apartment. I'm a libertarian until
You're dry every day to work?
no, probably 2 or 3 times a week. I had a rent-controlled apartment in Queens. I'm very much a libertarian until I can personally benefit.
The rent control.
All right, but
I got you.
listen, I grew up right out on the wrong side of the Holland Tunnel, and I watched literally in person Soho emerge from being a burnt-down, post-apocalyptic, dystopic warehouse neighborhood into arguably being one of the great art neighborhoods on the planet. And I watched that cycle go on, and it was largely, there was a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I will tell you that the restaurant, what was it? He had a term for it. There was a group that gave low interest loans to restaurants, but they were all small restaurants at the same time. And that, in addition to the raw material of having Rizzi and Brown and cheap rents, made Providence what it is today.
He had
So it was timing.
I mean, now with all the cultural food, the differences.
But I'll tell you.
Have you been to Track 15 yet?
It's ironic because the week that Track 15 opened, a group of us organized and had promoted Central Falls Restaurant Night because of the raids that are going on from ICE and what's happened to that community. I'm not big on Faneuil Hall, Track 15.
Been there. Well, listen, but what he's done, what he did was reach out into the communities. And this is Chris Marcella, and find the restaurants that are getting rave reviews all the way up and down. But they're located in, you know, the West End somewhere. And he had them open up these.
And here's the thing. I'm committing the cardinal sin of asking a question I don't know the answer to, because I just haven't had time with all the crap that goes on around here, like the Superman movie, right? Garbage like that, which by the way still isn't built, and still hasn't happened, despite the fact
numbers have
they never made sense.
They're just growing.
The Libertarian Party of Rhode Island ran a picket line back 10 years ago when they did their tours with the Providence Historical Society. All right, we ran a picket line because it proved that areas like that, if you have to give money out, I'm a capitalist. I'm a free market capitalist. I believe that free market capitalism is the mechanism by which the individual reaches their full human potential.
Free market. A lot of the free market now is just insurance.
Well, it's
keep the money moving.
And I get all the way back to this guy, and I look at this soccer stadium, and I say, I warned them about the Paw Sox Stadium, and it happened far faster than I thought it would. The collapse, and it is. Right now, they're living on city money, and that's what's going to happen here.
Didn't play any role in this. Mario, my friend.
Oh, here we go.
You know this guy too?
I know this guy. I kind of know a lot of people, and some of them will actually admit to knowing me.
We've known him since the 80s back in Cumberland.
So.
Was that right?
I still live in Cumberland.
I was a Cumberland kid.
Before his broadcast.
Ben was from Woonsocket.
I live in the mean streets of Arnold Mills.
Arnold Mills, yeah. That's where we met.
Arnold's Mill? Oh, that's...
I got to run.
I dated a girl.
I got to run. Good seeing you, Pat.
Right. Did you give... Hey,
I'm heading out too.
401 gives tomorrow. Libertarian Mutual Aid or the Milagros Project. Send us a couple of bucks. Thanks for listening to all that, folks. We're still here. We're out in front. Folks seem to be leaving. not exactly the banner turnout. A few of the usual suspects, but I wouldn't consider it a success. It would be fun if some enterprising person looked up tonight's event, and if there's a way to find out just how much money Grebs grabbed from it. I'm hoping not a lot. I'm hoping what's happening is the message is coming through that while he may still have a stranglehold, if you will, on the political elite in this state who still believe his bullshit. Oh, did I say that? Was that judgmental? Who still believe his bullshit, because it is bullshit. Everything about this guy is bullshit. And listen, he can debate me. He won't talk to me anymore, by the way, which is kind of funny, because he always says that I'm lying. Show me where I'm wrong. I'll admit it. Prove me wrong. Sue me. And we can go to court. Something called discovery. Then we can get the receipts. But we live in a work and play in a city of Pawtucket that's fundamentally broken. And yeah, I don't live here. That's true. One person seems to take great offense that I would show up and not live here and deign to have the nerve, the sheer temerity, the balls, the gall, if you will, to testify on the fallen city of Pawtucket. Oh well, tough darts farmer. Shit's gonna happen. Wait a minute, more people are going in? You're not giving them any money, are you? Come on. Don't do that. There you go. Again, the challenge still exists. Tell me one thing that this guy has done that's resulted in any sort of positives for the city of Pawtucket. We got a whole bunch of people come through here tonight. Listen for a few minutes. Haven't gotten a thing. Again. By the way, I think I struck a nerve here. You tell me, the Pawtucket Walk of Shame. Your underwear is in your pocket. You walk out of a fundraiser feeling dirty. You just gave money to the Don. That is the Pawtucket Hall of Shame. Oof. The Walk of Shame, excuse me. That is the Pawtucket Walk of Shame. So, I mean, why would you give this man money? There are so many deserving organizations. The Elisha Project, the Pawtucket Soup Kitchen, just to name a few. If anyone's got any good suggestions of small, well-run not-for-profits that aren't right in the big salaries, put them up here. We want to know about them. Meal kitchens, homeless centers, anything. There's so many folks who can take a few $100s, never mind a few thousand, and make it work. Change people's lives. The direction of people's lives. There's so many people who could do that. So, I don't know, man. I'm thinking Don may have left. What time is it? It is now 6:23. Let's see how long we can hang in. Again, just joining us, we are at Panaderia Ristorante. We are in the heart of Pawtucket. We did get visited by members of the Pawtucket law enforcement community who were actually very polite. Asked me to make sure that I wasn't interfering with people's transit in and out. You can rewind this later on to find that. And then I wasn't accosting people. I am kind of teasing people. Yeah. Maybe it's a little edgier than teasing. But I am begging people not to give money. Tomorrow is 401 Gives. There's a number of organizations that you can give to. So, we're going to take a little walk around. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm told that Don is still here. We're going to wait for him for that magic interview, but we're here with Representative Grebien. I always mix this up, NK or SK?
North Kingston.
North Kingstown. You got to say it right. North Kingstown. You're in the Blackstone Valley.
Yes.
So there's word about that a career change might be happening.
That's a good rumor.
Huh?
Yeah, that.
You've heard tell of that?
Yeah, I've heard. Yep, my intention is to run for Attorney General.
Okay.
Putting together an exploratory committee and changing my designation as the office I hold, or pursuing at the Board of Elections in a couple of weeks. So yeah, yep.
So this is something that you've spent an entire career in law enforcement.
Adios. See you, Greg.
Exit while you still can, while it's safe. The great Secretary of State Greg Amore. Actually, as a libertarian, don't quote me on this, but he's probably the best Secretary of State in the country. And I know that from dealing with libertarians around the country. You may not know this. We had a big board meeting of all the libertarians. We got outside from the bunker, and actually Secretary Amore came and gave us a talk about voter integrity, election, things like that. But back to you. Your entire career has been surrounded by law enforcement in some manner, shape, or another.
It has. Yep.
All right. You are the head, if you will, of the Judiciary Committee in the House.
Yep. Last 8.5 years.
Right. You have served, I believe, in the Office of the Attorney General.
9.5 years.
Right.
Yep.
You're a practicing attorney.
Yes.
You've been involved in criminal defense.
I have.
So you've been on criminal defense, prosecution. This week coming up, you're going to be a busy guy again. Bail on 32.
Oh, there's Tuesday and Thursday. We're having Thursday, I think, is the bills that you're about to suggest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Any thoughts? Something like bail on 32. Without trying to pin you down, but just generally speaking, when I go to the rest of the country and I explain what a 32F bail violation is, and hopefully I do it accurately, but I think I do. People are kind of horrified by that.
It should be. It should be discretion of the court. It should be the same factors that go into it as a person that's accused in the first instance. So I don't think that because of the fact that you're on probation necessarily means that you failed to keep the peace and be a good behavior. There may be other factors involved that would warrant that you don't send them to jail, that there may be, hold them without bail, but to traumatize somebody, especially if it's the first time. I think that the courts ought to be able to use their discretion, and if not, we'll make that happen.
Well, so, and just to describe 32F bail violations, and please correct me because I am not an expert. Yep. I do play one on the radio. All right. You're on probation. An individual's on probation. They get pulled over.
Yep.
Potentially, someone in the car could have drugs, unbeknownst to that person. In a perfect world, people leave their criminal background behind them and go someplace else. The reality is that's not happening. In a community, in a state where there are precious little resources for people who are leaving jail to quote unquote have that second chance of life, there's very few resources out there to help them. So they are then incarcerated and immediately remanded to the ACI.
Correct.
Where they could end up, guilt or not, doesn't matter. You go directly to jail. Now, let's just say you're one of a lot of people who are actually trying to do it, and you got jammed up, and you didn't do anything wrong. There was no violence. Your case may not be heard for weeks. In reality, it's supposed to be, I think,
14 days.
14 days. That's not happening, and so you lose your job, potentially lose your apartment. All of these are life-altering circumstances for criminality that you have not been convicted for.
Correct.
Holy cow.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a crime. The document that you sign when you are sentenced to probation says you must keep the peace and be of good behavior. That's been adjudicated by the courts in Rhode Island as...
Just driving by, my two favorite people, I have to say hi.
You're not going to stop in for Don? I got to call you tomorrow, though.
No. Yeah, okay.
Okay?
No, I was just driving by. I saw you guys.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Who knew this many people came to downtown Pawtucket? But to your point, that's terrible.
It's terrible.
Why? this is not the first year of this attempt to roll this back to modify this. What seems to be the problem?
I think it's hard to describe. I know that from time to time the courts have suggested that that's a judicial function and is a separation of powers issue because it's involving acting on a sentence that's already been given to them. So when you're in the probation or under the auspices of probation counselor or under the auspices of a sentence, that's supposed to be the court system. I don't agree with that. I think there's a public policy issue where the courts ought to be given an opportunity to say, well, let's look at this person before we put him behind bars, especially if it's the first time. It's, let's say it's as you described. You did something stupid, you didn't do anything violent, and you act like a knucklehead, and they arrest you for disturbing the peace or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, you're spending 14 days in the ACI as a 22-year-old kid. Bad stuff happens.
Now, if elected Attorney General, I'm going to semi-put you on the spot here. What a lot of folks don't understand, again, correct me if I'm wrong on this process, but executive officers and officials of the state have the ability, if you will, to submit legislation that's directed from that office. The governor doesn't. The attorney, there's a rich tradition of the Attorney General submitting, and with that comes a full clout imprimatur, if you will, of the Attorney General's office. And just as the Secretary of State would do, there's a gravitas associated with that legislation that may or may not be present depending on the circuitous route some bills take.
Yep.
Is that something you'd be willing to do?
I'm absolutely going to take a look at that issue. I don't know what the numbers are, but I can tell you to have it be a prohibition that someone has to go to jail on a 32F, I will do everything in my power to give the court the opportunity to send them to pretrial services. Take a look under the, under the belfry and to see what's going on with the person. If it's addiction, if it's drugs, if it's mental illness, you don't send them to jail. You send them to a place where they're going to get some help.
Right. Fair enough.
Thanks.
Well, when do you now I know that you're going to give the Coalition Radio Network an exclusive that Channel 10 or 12 or whoever they are, they can. I'll send them a press release. I'll send a video. But when do you think you're going to formalize the announcement?
I would say right after the summer. Okay. But that I will take. I'm going to put together an exploratory committee of people that I think are worth being around the table to give me ideas of where they think the AG's office is, where it should go, and what are the issues. I've got a pretty formulated group of people that you'd be impressed who they are.
Fair enough. Good to see you, sir.
Thanks.
Somehow I think I'll be going to be seeing you soon. I'm not sure why, but...
let's see, all day tomorrow and all day Thursday.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I try to come up with some more bills to submit just to keep you busy, but...
You're doing good work.
Thank you. You're kind. We'll see you soon. Folks, that was Representative Bob Grebien. He is the head chair of your state of Rhode Island Judiciary Committee, House Committee. And as it were, when it comes to legislation, very often they're bundled. So you'll have Gun Day in the House, and then I'm led to believe sometime after the spring break, you'll have Gun Day in the Senate. And you have Election Day. And so they bring all these bills together in a marathon event. And that's going to happen this week with regard to bills like Bail on 32, bills like codifying a reasonable approach to solitary confinement, all sorts of stuff. Defelonization of small quantities of narcotics, all of that. So stay tuned. I think we're getting down to it, folks. If you're just joining us, we are at Panaderia Ristorante here in the heart of Pawtucket. You call it Pawtucket, we call it Pawtucket. If you're from here, you get to call it the Bucket. Downtown Pawtucket has suffered immeasurably, and tonight the architect of that pain and failure is here holding a fundraiser, and there are people willing to give him money. Oof. Yikes. And I'll continue to ask, and I'll continue to ask, and I'll continue to ask, what's he done? I see nothing but a trail of tears. I see pain. I see failure. I see people who are hungry. I see people who are underemployed. That's what I see. And I see nothing good coming from this. I see a soccer stadium which is built financially on a house of sand, a house of cards. I see it potentially being the final blow to bankrupt what is a great city. Again, 792,000, that's the number you should remember. That's what the city of Worcester had to stroke a check for. That's my understanding. Oh. Good, good, good. We have a late entry to the Don Grebien sweepstakes.
I know. I was.
All right, I'm gonna beg you. Don't give him any money. He doesn't need the money.
I'm gonna see him.
Well, listen. Tomorrow is 401 Gives.
Yes.
All right. There's an organization called the Milagros Project. They're in Woonsocket.
Oh yeah, I know them.
All right.
Yeah.
And then there's this organization run by some lunatic called Libertarian Mutual Aid. All right. And we're not here from the government. We're actually here to help.
But I know the Milagros Project. I had them.
So
with them.
send them a few bucks.
Okay.
All right.
I will. All right. Thanks.
That was Sabina Matos. A late entry into the Pawtucket Walk of Shame. She'll come out. I hope she doesn't donate to them. Oh my God. The only question at this late moment, and by the way, thanks for all of you who watched. If you watch this and you haven't followed Pat Ford or Facebook.com/DeColson Radio, please do so. We are on the air in Woonsocket, AM 1380, 99.9 FM, WNRI.com on 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock Wednesday mornings. Where our rich, irreverent brand of humor, our chaos, the brand of chaos, and sheer anarchy are actually allowed on FCC sanctioned airwaves. I have no idea why they do it, but they do. So we'll be there to spread our own unique form of cheer and love. So please take a moment and follow us. We'd be grateful. I hope folks have had some fun, but I've brought, well, a number of sober issues to the forefront tonight. And I think we'll close out on this. We'll kind of do a little watch here for a few minutes. See if the Don joins us. It is now, you're just joining us, we're outside a Pandiri restaurant. We're on a Don watch. It's 6:39. We've been out here for an hour and a half. Waiting, hoping that Don, in our case, our Elvis, hasn't left the building. We want to ask him about that litigation, that lawsuit. We've done a surface level analysis. We have a video up from this morning asking Mr. Buck, the new head of, over here, you want to come around here? God, I'm helping people go in. Yikes. I think you've got a regular restaurant crowd right now, hopefully. But some pretty serious charges. I'm proud to say I got to know Patricia Royal during her tenure as the head of the Pawtucket School Committee. Wonderful woman, a wonderful professional, truly loved kids, and really professionalized in a short period of time a system that's had a lot of bumps and bruises. Not in small part because of the mismanagement that comes from the city of Pawtucket. By the way, not a big crowd tonight for the Don. Pretty disappointing turnout. I'm sure a bunch of folks sent money anyway. But, and we did get the obligatory visit from your Pawtucket law enforcement community, who, by the way, were very nice. But the allegations are disturbing. You have the head of the school facilities committee, Joanne Bonallo, alleged in court documents, sworn to in court documents, that she was blaming the fact that she didn't get to be the head of the Pawtucket School Committee because she's white. I don't know if there's a place for that here. Someone else got elected, and while that individual, his behavior has been nothing short of loathsome and highly grotesquely unprofessional, you don't get to claim racism and make it up and spread that word. Highly damaging to a school board. hey, somebody's calling us, but we're on the air. We're on the air. So, what? We're on. Yeah, it's Pat Ford. We're on the Facebook Live. Go to Facebook and say hi. That's because it was canceled. So go on Facebook Live and watch us. And this is our friend Haley McKee. Make some really witty comments. Sarcasm is purely appreciated. I'm standing here for an hour and a half, and there's been no. You're on my phone. So go to Facebook Live, Pat Ford. I'll call you back. Goodbye. I gotta go. Goodbye. I think they call that cinema verite. So another Pawtuckian, but native Pawtucket, just joined us on the air. Hi, Susan. We see you. We are outside of a Don Grebien fundraiser. We've been there for about an hour and a half or so, meeting and greeting folks, begging them not to give money to Don Grebien, imploring them, if you will, prostrating myself before them, begging them not to support the Grebien crime regime. But alas, some have gone in. And some ostensibly have donated money, but nowhere near the turnout one would have thought by the wise men, the Solons. I'm hoping that you guys didn't give money to Grebien, did you?
Sorry, what?
You guys didn't give money to Grebien, did you?
We didn't know nothing about what money.
To Grebien.
Nothing.
I mean, come on, man. You guys are stronger than that. So we're meeting and greeting all the folks who are going in. Although there is a back door out, which I'm caught a couple people going outside of.
Take care, buddy.
Is the Don still in there? Who? Don Grebien. So we're going to hang out for just a few more minutes. In the hope that springs eternal, that he's still here. Not that he's ever displayed any level of courage whatsoever in confronting his accusers. He constantly calls me a liar, but yet he's unable to refute any of my assertions. What kind of person is that? We're here in the heart of downtown, which has been devastated once by moves outside of the downtown area and economic development, quote-unquote economic development, about to be devastated again. They built a stadium clear across town. Even the building that they rehab for the transportation center no longer exists for any other reason than to hide that shell of a corporation, the Rhode Island Football Club, the one that I believe will ultimately take down the city of Pawtucket. Because I see no sign of economic development going over there anytime soon. The roads don't support it, the parking doesn't support it. How are they going to do that? The city apparently has gotten in the way of homeless organizations using Memorial Hospital for something, so that sits and rots away. Again, failure. Failure after failure after failure. Hoping in the next election, well, one rumor spread around is that he's going to run for lieutenant governor or some high level of office. He had contemplated getting a high level appointment. That didn't happen. The Donald got in the way of that. A whole lot of employment plans got busted up by the Donald. So, who's to say? What's to happen? So we're running out of gas here a little bit. We're hoping, we're pleading, Don Grebien, please come outside and address your adoring masses. That's right, there's nobody here. Love to know what overall attendance is, but trying to get an overall attendance figure on an event like this. Well, I think we finally ran out of steam. Folks, if you could, take a moment and like the Coalition. Facebook.com/The Coalition Radio. My name is Pat Ford. If you like my page as well, we co-promote. And again, join us on AM 1380 Wednesday morning when my good friend Bonnie Pekarsky joins us and we talk about some of the challenges facing the Woonsocket Education Department. So we're going to say goodnight, farewell, and and we will see you soon.